Today we are going to talk about the direct instruction model and the project-based learning. Direct instruction is very different and some similar to the project-based learning. We're going to discuss why to use these models, when to use these models, the processes and steps of these models, and challenges anticipated with each. First, we're going to discuss why. The reasons you should use the direct instruction model is to teach procedural knowledge with steps and concepts, such as adding decimals. The next reason you should use direct instruction is to reinforce foundational knowledge and skills, such as telling time on an analog clock, or to teach procedures, skills, or techniques that students can replicate, such as jumping jacks. When you should use project-based learning, you use this method as a way to build on student knowledge, as a way for them to investigate and discover topics of their own and have some help from the teacher, but it's mostly student-driven. When you should use these methods or when direct instruction you typically use when you are trying to teach a new topic, something that students have very to little to none knowledge about a topic. For project-based learning, you want them to have some basis of knowledge and skills. You want them to have even a tiny bit to build on. That way they have a challenge or a question that they can really form to really investigate. Some steps of the direct instruction are introduction, where you introduce the material to the students. You explain what you're going to do, the objective, and what the outcomes should be. The model and demonstration. This is where you show the students, you explain very thoroughly of what the topic is being addressed. You explain how to do it and very thoroughly go through. And like the teacher will explicitly model her thoughts. Like she will think aloud. Guided practice is the next step. This is where you, as the teacher, work with the students and guide them through their thoughts and how to do it. This is where they practice what you have taught until they have mastered that topic. Once they have mastered that topic, you want to bring them to the independent practice. Once the independent practice starts, this is where students take over and they show how well they have learned the material. This could be through many different things, through formal assessments, informal assessments, projects, or whatever. Whatever the teacher prefers to show the students independent practices, which could be differentiated in a number of ways. Well, through project-based learning, the steps to these are to have a problem or question arose on this topic, to identify what we need to know about this topic, and to learn and apply to solve the problem and conclude the project. This typically starts off with having the students have the key knowledge and skills needed for this particular topic. They form a problem or question as a class, and then you have sustained inquiry, authenticity, and student voice. They must be able to reflect and critique and revise their work. And then, once all of those aspects are formed, they will present a public product, such as a poster and speaking, or they will have a slideshow, or recording or video such as this one right here. The challenges anticipated with each of these models can really depend on what situation you are in. During the direct instruction model, students may become very bored or agitated when not understanding. They may want to interrupt a lot, to ask questions. They may have difficulty in expanding their knowledge because they're all working on the same scale, listening to the teacher, following her modeling and instruction, whereas project-based learning is different. Students can move ahead or hold back, and it's a very great thing. But also, project-based learning, students can get distracted and they can tend to talk to their peers and cause lack of working environment for others. Behavior problems can arise in both situations, and it just depends on what is best for your classroom and for yourself and your students. So the things that they have similar is both models have a break to where they have checking points, such as in the guided practice of direct instruction. In project-based learning, they have little benchmarks in each project of where at certain places in the project the teacher will come in and see what the students are doing and if they are getting enough information, if they are not, how are they implementing it, and there's differentiation and pacing in these projects. You also need to know that in direct instruction, a form of assessment is through projects. But in project-based learning, they use the projects to teach the topics that the teacher is wanting to teach. And I think personally that project-based learning is excellent because students who need more time learning a certain concept of the material will have more time to explore that. Whereas during direct instruction, you have to learn everything that the teacher is teaching at that moment through the modeling and the guided practice so that you can pass during the independent practice. Through project-based learning, when students present projects, they can express it through their identity, through their interest, and the way that they have a voice. Direct instruction is a little bit difficult to have a voice, mostly because it is how the teacher has taught it, and that's how the students have learned, and there's certain assessments that the teacher does based on the direct instructional model, whereas students are really learning for themselves in project-based learning. They are exploring, they are investigating, they are researching, they are putting their own thoughts and learning processes into their learning for this project. It also allows them to reflect on their own decisions and how to better fit and answer the question, so that way there can be a solution to this problem or the question that is formed. Both of these models are very great depending on which one you want to use for your classroom. So I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching.